Hello and welcome to the Ellen Wade Book Club. Today I'm doing the Mid-Year Freakout Tag. I don't think I need to introduce this tag. It's a sort of booktube staple that comes around every year and everybody does it. I will be doing a reading goal check-in video sometime soon-ish about my personal reading goals and my reading challenges and all of that to see how I'm doing. But in this video, I'm just going to answer the questions. So the first question is, the best book you've read so far in 2026? The ones that stick out to me are She's a Lamb by Meredith Hamrock. I think that was great. Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke is also a really good one. And then I also really enjoyed On Earth as It Is Beneath by Anna Paula Maya, translated by Padma Viswanathan. Longlisted and shortlisted, I think, for the International Booker Prize. It's very short. It's sort of a thriller horror book in a remote corner of Brazil where life in a forgotten prison takes a sadistic, deadly turn. She's a Lamb is about an actress who sees herself as a star, but her reality might not really match up to that, and things get a bit crazy. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really funny and sort of emotional. It has a lot of humor, but it also has a lot of depth, and I just enjoyed being in this character's head. And same thing with Yesteryear. I didn't enjoy it as much like in the beginning. I thought it was kind of slow and sort of wanted it to go somewhere, and I was really curious about this time travel thing, and it sort of ended up being something different than what I had expected, but it also did deliver on a lot of things, and I just think it's such a thought-provoking read, and it sparks a lot of conversation that I think is very necessary and relevant right now. And yeah, I just think it's a really good book. And like, you can like the character or not like the character, or have your personal views on the topics in this book, which there are a lot of. But I just think it is a good book just because of how many conversations it starts. And I'm not really sure which one I like the most at this point in time. This was the most thought-provoking. This was the most heart-pounding book. And this one was the funniest. Question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far in 2026. And I don't think I've read a single sequel. I am in the middle of one, which is The Thorn Queen, I think, by Sasha Payton Smith, which is the sequel to The Rose Bargain. I'm listening to that on audio, and I am 40% into The Thorn Queen. I don't know if I would say that it's like the best sequel. First of all, I haven't finished it, but like it's the only sequel that I've read, I think. So I guess I'm gonna have to say that one. Haven't really started a lot of series. I have started The Hunger Games by Susan Collins for the first time, but I've only read the first book so far, but like I'm expecting the sequel to be good. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I have a few on my shelves. I have Cathedrals by Claudia Pinheiro, Honeysuckle by Bar Friedman Tell, and I have Homebound by Portia Ilan. These are all books that I'm hoping to get to really soon. Then I also have a couple of other books that I don't have on my shelves yet that came out last year that I really want to read, which are The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I feel like I should know that by now because The Correspondent has been everywhere and, won the Women's Prize for Fiction and all of that. And everybody seems to love it, and I want to read it too. I also really want to read The Hounding by Sanabi Purvis. My copy is arriving in August. I think I've said that a million times. And the same goes for The Minion by Addie E. Kitchens. They both are coming out in paperback, and I have pre-ordered them, and I hope that they both arrive in August, that I don't get an email saying, oh, sorry, we're not licensed to sell this to Sweden, which has happened a couple of times before. Those are also on my list of new releases that I haven't read yet, but want to. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. One that I'm looking forward to is The Shadows Tomorrow by Noel Michel. Like they're doing a documentary about Neanderthals that they have recreated from DNA or something. And so that just sounds really weird and really fascinating, and I want to see what that's all about. And I don't know, the Neanderthal leader person is doing something, and yeah, I'm just really intrigued. I think that comes out in August, the English translation. I also have pre-ordered Bury Your Dead by Ana Paula Maya, which is the author of On Earth as It Is Beneath, because I want to read more from this author, and I'm not really sure what it's about. I don't think I want to know. I'm just gonna read it. And then there are also a couple of books by authors that I haven't read from yet, but that I want to. The first one is a book by Jennifer Saint. I think it's called This Immortal Heart, maybe. The cover is really pretty, and I can't remember what it's about, but it looked really nice, and it's by an author that I really want to read from. I have Atalanta by her, which I haven't read yet, but I just, in my mind, I'm just gonna love these books. We'll see if that's the case or not, but I don't know, that's just a release that's on my radar. And then I also have The True Confession of First Lady Freeman, which is by Disha Filio, which is the author of The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, which I also haven't read yet, but I think I'm gonna enjoy. And it also reminds me of Dominion by Addie E. Kitchens, just because there's a, you know, pastor's wife and some patriarchy and some commentary on that, and that just is a good mix for me. Biggest disappointment so far this year. I would say the very first book that I read this year was the biggest disappointment. That was The Midnight Shift by Cheon Seon-ran, which is a Korean horror novel with vampires. She was a detective and like hunting vampires, and the vampires were sort of killing old people, and so I was expecting it to be scary and emotional, and it was neither. There was no vampire hunting and there was no emotion, and it was all just like reminiscing about teenage crushes basically, and I thought it was really boring and it didn't make sense, and I didn't think it was good, and I had been looking forward to that for like a year. Then I finally read it and I was just like, okay. I have a couple of others, but let's not dwell too much on the disappointments. The biggest surprise, I think, was On Earth as It Is Beneath by Ana Paula Maya, just because I thought this was going to be a lot more literary. There is seriousness to it. There is history, and like brutal history, and there are some very dark things in here, but I didn't expect it to be as like thrilling and as engaging as it was. My heart was racing when I read it, and I just was not expecting that at all from this. So I would say this one is the biggest surprise. The next question is favorite new author, debut or new to you? The first one again is Ana Paula Maya. I want to read the other books that are out from her in English. I also really enjoyed The Harpy by Megan Hunter, and so I have pre-ordered the paperback for Days of Light by her, and I'm really intrigued to read more. So like I can't say she's a new favorite, but she's definitely an author that I want to explore more from. The same goes for Claudia Pinheiro. I read Elena Knows in June and really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed her writing style, and it just is very well written, and the story is very engaging, and a lot of good things about this, so I definitely want to read more from her. And next up, I think, is probably going to be Cathedrals. I also really enjoyed Confessions by Kanai Minato, and I decided to get Penance. Confessions is translated by Steven Snyder, and Penance is translated by Philip Gabriel. We'll see if there's any difference in translation. I'm not sure what Penance is about, but I'm expecting it to be dark as well, and intriguing and sort of page turning. And so yeah, this is another author that I'm really happy to have read from and wanting to read more books from. Next question is newest fictional crush. I wish I had one, but I don't get crushes on characters really. I don't really read a lot of books where there are people to get crushes on. Like a lot of the characters are really horrible, and so they're not I'm not getting crush feelings. I might mention Spiraling by Cal Speet. This is about a gay man in his 20s, and he has recently broken up with his boyfriend, and so he is single and dating, and there are some of his, dating partners that are nicer than others. One of them is nice, and so I guess that guy, but I feel like I'm more so like crushing for the character. I'm like rooting for them as a couple, but I'm not necessarily like feeling crush feelings myself. But like that's the closest answer I can give, and yeah, I really enjoyed this book as well. Newest favorite character. I think the strongest character, or like the most vivid character that I have read, is probably Elena in Elena Knows, who is a mother, and she's getting a bit older, and she's dealing with Parkinson's and trying to figure out what happened to her daughter who died. We're in her head a lot in this book as well, and we're sort of getting her perspective on things, and like this is a pretty recent read of mine, and no one else no other character sort of jumps to my mind, so I'm just gonna go with Elena. I think she is a complex character, and she has her beliefs, and she is also sort of open to new information and shifting perspectives, and there are a lot of like emotions that we go through with her, and I think she has a lot of like sound thoughts as well, and I don't know, she's just really strong. Even though she might appear very weak, I think she's a very strong woman and a strong character, like a well-written, fleshed out character. So I'm gonna go with Elena for this one. Next question is a book that made me cry. I think I'm gonna have to go with Yesteryear for this one as well. I wasn't expecting it to be emotional, but it definitely was at a certain point. It was also funny and maddening and thought-provoking and all of that, but there's also especially one particular moment where I cried, and I'm not gonna say too much about that, but I'm gonna go with that one. A book that made me happy. I have quite a few, and they might not be books that make everybody happy, but I don't know, I'm happy by a good book, So the first one is, again, She's a Lamb by Meredith Hamrock. This is not a happy book necessarily, but it made me happy in just the reading experience was a lot of fun, and it's very engaging and it's very funny, and even though there are dark themes in here as well, it was just very well done, and I just enjoyed myself a lot reading this, and so for that reason it made me happy. Spiraling by Cal Speet also made me happy. It made me very nostalgic for my 20s, and it's just a fun time. It sort of felt like Sex and the City, but with a gay main character and people in their 20s. It's just a fun time. So that also made me happy. I was also very happy reading The Morning Necklace by Kate Foster, because this is the first book that I have read from her since having read The Maiden, and I enjoyed this one a lot as well. So that made me really happy that it's an author that I can enjoy more books from. And that reminds me that there's a new book by her that has come out this year, called The Repentance, that I also really want to read. My pre-order of the paperback didn't come through for some reason. There was some like licensing problems, and so now there's only the hardback available, but I don't want that, so I'm gonna have to wait even longer for that. And there's also a book coming out by her next year that I'm also looking forward to, called The Riot Queens, I think, which I'm definitely going to be reading that. But yeah, this is about a woman in Scotland in 1724, and she is accused of having killed her baby, and so she is sentenced to be hanged, and she is hanged, but she survives the hanging. And sort of similarly to The Maiden, we sort of follow her before and after this execution that was supposed to happen, her trying to reach her goals and dreams in life, and yeah, the challenges that she faces on like a personal level and a societal level. And I just think her books are great. I think they're good historical fiction and they're very plot heavy as well. Yeah, I really loved this one, so that made me happy. The most beautiful book I have bought so far this year. I think most of the books that I buy tend to be very beautiful. I think Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke has a fantastic cover, and I definitely chose this cover over the other one that I don't like as much at all. I will say I saw the Swedish cover of this, and I do think it fits the vibe very well, but it also made me laugh because of like the face, like her position. It's just, I don't know, I think it's a very funny cover. It's also pretty, and like I love storm clouds. I think it's a very good cover, but it's also hilarious. But this one is very pretty. I also love this cover. I think it's fantastic. I think it's very full of life and expression, and I think it fits the vibe of the book very well. I think this one is stunning. It has this like iridescent foiling on the title, and I love the sky and the sea and this person who's walking through some kind of a hole. I really like the cover of Women of a Promiscuous Nature by Donna Everhart. This is another new release that I haven't gotten to yet, but I really want to. It's historical fiction. And then the final question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I would like to continue the Hunger Games series. I don't think I need to read them, but it would be good to read them sort of close-ish to the first book so that I don't forget. I also need to read Hours by Philip B. Williams. It's just been too long and it's getting ridiculous, and I need to read this for several reading challenges that I'm doing, so I just need to read this. And then of course all of the books for all of my reading challenges, but that's a very long list, so I'm not gonna mention all of those. I do think I need to read The Hounding by Xana B. Purvis and Dominion by Addie E. Kitchens, because I have just been anticipating those books for such a long time now. I was already like anticipating the releases a year ago, and then I've been waiting for the paperbacks, and I've just said that a million times, and so I just need to read them so that we can move on, you know? So yeah, I think those are all of the questions. Let me know if you have also done this tag so I can watch it. You're tagged if you have any kind of booktube channel, or if you want to share your answers in the comments, you can do that as well. Anybody is tagged, everybody's tagged. Do the tag. We all want to see your mid-year freakout. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.